Welcome to the Stop Suffering in Silence podcast with your host, Denise Walsh and Rachel Timothy.
Welcome back, you guys. My name is Denise Walsh, and I'm here with co-host Rachel Timothy, and you are listening to the Stop Suffering in Silence podcast. Today, we are going to continue the conversation for that Bringing Hope, which is a program within Stop Suffering in Silence, is doing. Bringing Hope is visiting brothels all over the United States, and more recently is looking into and brewing some ideas to take it up a whole nother level. So, Rachel, I know we've been going to the brothels in Illinois during our retreat. If you guys didn't listen to the episode, if you talked all about the survivors' experience of going into the brothels and what they, how it impacted them. But you are also doing brothel ministry in your neck of the woods, and there's ladies all over the country within the Facebook group who are planning meeting times in their areas as well. And so I'd love to hear your kind of next brainstorm, aha, or next step that is brewing within Bringing Hope to not only pour love on and into the survivors to help them escape, but then also help them have a means to do so. So tell us your story.
Okay, so I made a post recently, and it said, God doesn't open your eyes to something without also giving you next steps. And I feel like, even though I was trafficked and I saw that world, there's still pieces of it that I didn't live. There's all sorts of different ways that you can be trafficked. And I didn't understand that some of these illicit spas were right here in the strip malls, right in our town, and that these Asian women were being brought over here for that purpose. Until once I knew, you can't unknow, and it just changes everything. And then once you start going in and you start meeting these girls, and you fall in love with them, like they're precious and they have such a beautiful value to this world.
Now, I want to just stop you for 1 minute because you keep saying girls, and we'll probably continue to say girls, but let's be clear. These are not teeny boppers, which is kind of what I expected.
You're right.
They're ages 40 to 60 that we've been connecting with. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say the average age 30 to 60, some even older. But they almost feel emotionally like little kids, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. You can tell they're meek and they're mild often. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to make that, as people are imagining the situation, I want you to imagine an adult who doesn't speak the language, who is brought here under false pretenses, who although physically could walk out the doors, emotionally is chained. And we've talked all about this. We'll link a few of the podcasts down below if you are new to this conversation. But that's the type of woman we're working with.
Yeah. So, God opened my eyes to this, and he broke my heart for it. And then slowly but surely started to create these visions and steps of potentially how to help these women. And one is the Bringing Hope mission of going in and giving them gifts and loving on them on at least one time a month, sometimes 2 times a month. I know the chapter in Ohio that's doing Bringing Hope, they go 2 times a month. And that's just 2 college age girls who are passionate about loving on these women. It's just so stinking cool. But then one of the visits, and the whole vision that I have here goes back to a visit at a local spa. And it's actually located near the airport. So that they're getting a lot of traffic. And the first time that we went to this particular spa, it was very oppressive. Like, I don't know how else to say it, but as soon as we pulled into the parking lot, you could feel like some of our women started to have panic attacks. They're like, something evil is here. Like, it just felt very heavy. And so we were very more intense with our prayers, and the group of us that did go into that spa, I mean, it was the most oppressive that we've seen at this in our town anyway. And the women were very distraught, very scared when we walked in the door, concerned, nervous. It smelled dingy and just dark and disgusting. And not all of them do, but this one, it's almost like there's levels of oppression or evil. I don't, if that even makes sense. So when we left there, we then kind of circled around the place and we prayed. And then it was time to come back again the next month. And all of us were talking in the van on the way there. And we're like, I wonder if it's changed. I wonder if our prayers have impacted this place at all, because we'd prayed all month long. And sure enough, like, you could tell a difference when you pulled in the driveway. When you walked in, they had the lights on. The women were excited to see us. They met us with huge smiles. They were excited that we had come back. And from there, we would probably spent the longest time in this spa than we've spent in any of them, just carrying on conversations. One of the ladies pulled out a Bible in Chinese. It was a beautiful, beautiful time. But there was a woman, and her American name is Susan, Chinese lady, but she's sitting down on the ground with boxes of dandelions. I mean, like, tons of dandelions. And we're like, so what are you doing? And you could tell that she was kind of sorting through. She was putting the leaves in one spot, the petals in another spot, and the stem in another spot. And so we started asking questions through Google Translate for the most part, because they don't speak our language. And we found out that they were not only going to make tea, but they were also going to make bread out of these dandelions. And they explained that they had gone to a place that had overgrown lawn and asked if they could pick the dandelions, and they let them. And then we asked them about this bread. Like, you're going to make bread out of dandelions? That just seemed disgusting to me. Well, one of the sweet ladies pulled out some already made dandelion bread and said, here, try some. And I did. Of course, all the women there made me try it first, which I get. But I did, and it was delicious. And then they all tried it, and you could just see the excitement in the Chinese women as we liked what they had made. But what brought me to tears in that moment was laying on the ground, these weeds. I mean, that's what we call them. They're weeds. They're a nuisance. We, in fact, will spray chemicals all over our yard to get rid of them. We hate them so much. And yet these women saw value, food within them. And that, to me, was a perfect example of how our world views them, as worthless, as let's get rid of it. Let's just not deal with it. Let's sweep it under the rug. We don't want to deal with this weed. And yet it has so much value. And the more that I began to look into this, the more I realized dandelions are extremely good for you. And there was a point years ago where if you had dandelions all around you, you were blessed, because that was going to be a way for you to have food. And then one day I'm scrolling through Pinterest on different ideas, because I love to do that. But up popped this dandelion salve, and it said that it has healing properties, and it can help with cracked skin and help with arthritic joints. And so I started looking, and guys, there's dozens upon dozens of recipes of things that you can make with dandelions. And so from there, my head started spinning, and I started thinking about, we could begin, and this is going to sound crazy, I know, but God's ways are sometimes crazy. But we could begin to make these things out of dandelions. We could create a job, in a sense, for these women to be able to come and help create. Because, I mean, you can make dandelion bath bombs, dandelion face serum, dandelion lemonade, bread, oil, sugar scrub, lotion bars, cake, soda, iced tea, coffee, candy, ice cream, pesto, all these different, it's endless. And we, what my thought is, if we could decide what it is we want to create, especially here in the beginning, that is somewhat easy to make, easy to reproduce, and begin to sell and create an income from it, we then could hire these women to begin to make more and more, and we could create a storefront, and they could now have a healthy job, literally selling all things Dandelion. And we would have counseling, and we would have Bible studies, and we would have group therapy and housing. And listen, this just blew up in my brain like a week ago, and God's not stopping.
I love how you think, because you get sparked, and it's not like you immediately go, heck yeah, let's try it, let's do it, let's investigate, and so you went down a whole rabbit hole of what Dandelion truly, what it can really do for you, but then also its meaning and its cultural. These ladies in the East, I'm guessing, right, would use dandelions more than we would.
Well, and I have to just say real quick, like, kudos to Denise, because either she's as crazy as I am, or she's just got a really big heart, because she had been gone doing a retreat with Dream Life. And prior to that, she had a death in the family. It was just a rough few weeks. And when we finally talked, she's like, hey, so anything new going on? I was like, yes, I want to do this. And I basically threw it at her, and she's like, let's do it. It's awesome. Okay.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is that at some long-term vision, right, is that potentially these bringing hope, whether it be dandelion honey or dandelion bath bombs or dandelion whatever, would give these ladies a job and help give them, a way out, because that's always a question. What are they going to do once they're out? Their cost of living will be way reduced, because they won't need to pay the rent, because oftentimes they need to give the first $5,000 to the owner of the spa. And so there's opportunities here, but then that it could be sold in a bunch of different boutiques. It could be sold in our own storefront, and it could be a hub for the growth opportunities that STOPSIS already provides.
Yeah, I got butterflies in my stomach. I'm so excited.
So one of my superpowers is to take a big vision and chunk it down and say, all right, so if this is where we want to go, what do we need to do now in order to take the first step? And you kind of already had that on your calendar. So tell us what you're doing on Friday.
Yeah, so there's 3 women here in my area that have kind of continued to say yes to all of my crazy ideas. And they have been visiting the spas with me every single time. I think we've gone 5 months now in a row. And these 3 women I invited to come for dinner Friday night. And I am planning an entire dandelion theme meal. So currently I have ice cream prepping in the fridge. I have piles upon piles of dandelions in my kitchen. Pray for my husband. And I am planning on, the menu. We're going to have grilled chicken, but outside of that, we're going to have dandelion bread, dandelion honey, ice cream, salad, and then I'm going to gift them with some of the dandelion salve. And then I also got each of them this little dandelion cover for a journal. So I went all out, and but it's given me an idea of what it would be like to create these things. And I guess some of my first thoughts are, as we create some of this, I'm thinking vendor fairs. Maybe that would be a good place to start, selling at vendor fairs. I still have questions, though, as far as, do you have to have a food license to sell dandelion lemonade or I don't know those things. But I need to get some of that figured out if you're doing it at just a vendor fair to start. But once we start getting some of the money coming in, once we share this idea with some of these women who are kind of maybe looking to possibly leave, we need a translator. That's one of our needs right now, so we can have better conversations with these women. But yeah, I think first steps is, let's see if these things actually taste any good, if they actually work, and then start selling.
Yeah, it's figuring out what your options are, right? And then testing them all and saying, all right, so maybe it's bath bombs and you don't need a food license. Maybe it's honey because then it's long shelf life. Like, let's test a bunch of things, see how easy they are to create and how well they work, etc. And then we want to start getting ingredients.
Yeah.
And so the first thought is to have a day where the ladies from the church, and then also inviting some of the ladies from the brothels on a day where they're not busy and they could maybe get away if possible to come to a room and start helping make it. And then once they're made, we get to figure out how to sell it.
Yes.
And that could be online. That could be, at vendor fairs. It could be at boutiques. There's a lot of different options to start. But
yeah. So, and I know it probably sounds crazy, and a lot of these women wouldn't be allowed to leave. I will add that. But some could. I see that potential. What I learned recently, I actually had a conversation with the former chief of police in my area. Great guy. He literally just retired within the year. He's now the chaplain with the police. But he explained that police were taught that these were prostitutes. And the way that they went about the investigation and the conversation with these women, like it just led to prostitution every time. And now he's recognizing that's not the case. And he did share with me about one place that he busted in the area not all that long ago, probably within the year, where the women were working at a Far East buffet restaurant, and they were being sold and trafficked. There was also labor traffic, which I think we see also in all of this. But he said what really shocked him then was the place where they lived, where they went home, that it was makeshift bedrooms and they were sold repeatedly once they got home as well. And so there is this process of them. Usually they don't have a vehicle, but they might take an Uber to and from, or have somebody transport them to or from their house to the spa. They are not always living in the spa like I had first thought. Some do, but not all. And so just understanding like what their availability would be, what do they feel comfortable with? And it might be another 6 months to a year down the road before they feel comfortable. Maybe it's something we could bring to them, have the project half done, and they can help finish it with us right there in the lobby. I mean, I think that we could be creative and think outside the box to give them this opportunity to feel safe with us and to start seeing the job opportunity in it.
Right. It would be a big ask, I think, for them to like, hey, I'll drive and meet these people I don't really know and I don't really speak English. And so I agree that starting with maybe we make some ourselves and say, hey, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we're going to use this money to bring you gifts, and then help them to start making those connections.
Yeah.
So one way we decided, or we thought, all right, well, what can we do now, right? Because we're action takers. We like to figure things out as we go. And so one thought was, well, we are going to need ingredients. Mm-hmm. And that will be step one, is to make a batch and see how it goes and sell it, etc. And so we decided to start with a Bringing Hope Dandelion fundraiser. And so with that, Rachel has designed 2 possible t-shirts that have a dandelion on them that I guess you want to describe what they say, and if you want to potentially share your screen, or you can just show it. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay. It might take me a second to get there, and I'm afraid I might lose connection. I wonder if you probably wouldn't be able to see it on my phone, would you?
Well, try it. Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull it up here. That's not it.
I have it.
You have it?
All right. So here's one. Why don't you just describe this?
So it says freedom in every flower, and I put dandelions as the O in each of those. And then it says the dandelion. Okay. And I have to say that comes from, I was a huge Gilmore Girls fan growing up, and Lorelai opened the dragonfly, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. And so this is going to be called the Dandelion. Hey, we can have a little fun with it. And then this is the second one. Can you see?
Resilient, transformed, set free, the dandelion.
And it has the 3 stages of the dandelion on there to a degree. One thing that I learned, those are 3 things that dandelions represent. They also represent, I had it written down. Let me find it. New life, and transformation, freedom, and resilience. But one thing that I learned too is the dandelion has all 3 stages of, it has like the seed that represent the stars. It's got the sun when it's the bright yellow, and then it's got the moon when you're the white. And so the transformation pieces of all that. The new life comes from after a harsh winter, then this new life pops up in the spring. Resilient, I mean, it's hard to get rid of them. And freedom, of course, how many of us have taken one of those and blown and seen in the wind the dandelion spread and fly free? So there's just so much packed into it. And then throw in the medicinal remedies that you can make from this stuff, the nutrients, they're jam-packed full. They're healthier than kale and spinach. And it's just never ending as far as what you can think you could do with these things. And I just think God kind of flopped this in my lap, and I'm ready to run with it. I saw a quote by Ashley Mayfield, and it said, "God can't bless what you don't plant." And I thought that was perfect for this. Maybe that should be the t-shirt. But I just love that, because God has given us this idea with something that he's created. And I love the vision and how it represents both the women and, its logical or logistical means of being able to sell and create things with.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So we are actually going live on this podcast to say that the shirts are available, and the link is down below. And if we have set this up correctly, you should be able to order directly from Custom Ink. Pay Custom Ink. They'll print and ship the shirt to you, and then we will get a kickback from Custom Ink once that has been printed and shipped. And that way you and in the audience here will be able to support Bringing Hope. It'll be a conversation starter, and it's a way for you to donate to this first step of getting the ingredients and making some things to see what works, so we can then scale from there.
Yeah, and 100% of the proceeds will go right back into building the Dandelion, which will then provide the jobs and the housing and the freedom for these women. So right now we're just building, and we're going to have to ask a lot. And usually I have a really hard time asking for donations and asking for money, but I can see the freedom literally being laid out for these girls. And, there's safe houses all across the country. Some that do similar things. Thistle Farms, it's similar. But those safe houses don't accept these women because of the language barriers. And so that's why there has to start to be these places for our Asian friends who have been here for years and years being trafficked. And so if you are ready and willing, we would love your donations, your prayers. And I can't wait to see where this goes.
Absolutely. So the link to purchase your own t-shirt will be in the description box. And then if you're interested in donating, you're like, I don't really need a shirt, or I want to donate more above and beyond the shirt, then go to stopsuffering.org, and we'll put the donate button or link in the show notes as well. And you can donate directly through our STOPSIS website. And in the notes section, if you want to say Bringing Hope, that will be that will give us notice that it's going directly to those survivors and supporting the ministry of Bringing Hope. Well, what you said, it's a conversation starter. People don't know what it is. Their eyes are open. Their mind is blown. And then they also get to hear about your story. They're reading your book. They're passing it around. And you have had an opportunity to meet with a lot of people over the last month to let them know what STOPSIS is up to. And it's been really powerful to see that next step reveal itself.
It is, yeah. And the conversations have been insane, and I have so many more on my calendar up ahead. So be in prayer for that too, that I have discernment and wisdom moving forward. But it's so exciting to see that God is placing this on people's hearts. They want to help.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, if you have been stirring, because if you've been listening to the Brothel Ministry episodes and are interested in being a part of bringing hope, join the free Facebook group. That is where ladies are learning how to go and what to do and what to say and best tips and practices for visiting the brothels. But then also get a t-shirt, and you can wear that with you. Like wear that when you're going, and make yourself a little bit known to these ladies from the Dandelion shirt that you're offering. And then, if you want to donate, be sure to press that link. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll keep you posted on what item from this dinner Rachel decides to start with. And
Yes.
since we are going to be airing this episode after they've done it, check out social media, her Facebook and Instagram reels. I'm sure will include some updated information about this Dandelion dinner she's planning.
Yes, it's going to be so fun. I even got myself a Dandelion shirt prior to us making them. So just so I can, be representing.
That's right. That's right. Well, I love that the next step comes, the how starts to show up, and our job is to hold the vision strong. And we're holding the vision of healthy and safe ladies who are now getting a chance to escape what they've been experiencing for the past few decades. So thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this episode with anybody you know that's in the brothel ministry. We've also been talking with ladies who have been visiting strip clubs and things like that. So we'd love any connections coming our way, or, let's collaborate. None of us are an island, and we really do want to learn from each other. So share this with anyone you know that's already doing it or interested in it. And be sure to join the free Facebook page to learn more. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. We'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening to this powerful episode of Stop Suffering in Silence. If you are interested in booking Rachel to speak at your event, workshop, school, church, or organization, then please email racheltimothy.stopsis@gmail.com. If you are interested in donating to the Stop SIS ministry, then please check out the link in the description box or show notes below. Or you can email stopsis@protonmail.com. And finally, if you are currently suffering in silence or you know somebody who is, then check out our website, stopsuffering.org, to learn more about our online programs and resources. We will always recommend that you also reach out to your local resources and find a counselor that you can trust, because nobody is meant to suffer alone. Have an amazing week, and thank you for being here.